Namaskar, and thank you again for allowing me to join this group this afternoon. Today is International Day of the Girl Child, and as you know, there's many events that take place on this day, but I chose to come here, and I made a good decision. Because I feel that this is an investment that will benefit girls. So I just wanted to say a few things. The remarks my staff prepared are here, but they're going to stay here because they're not really what's on my mind. So what I want to say, I began with UNFPA about 9 years ago, but I've worked for 37 years in development and humanitarian work, mostly in Africa. Although I had 3.5 years in Nepal about 10 years ago. And I worked a lot with faith-based leaders like yourselves in West Africa, mostly Muslim leaders, some Christian leaders, and some traditional, what we call animist, religious leaders, if you will, spiritual leaders. We worked on ending child marriage and female genital mutilation. And I can tell you the power of faith-based leaders is enormous. I saw the results myself. I saw it took time, in some cases 2, 3, 4, 5 years working with each village. But by the end of the period, when they were ready to declare no more child marriage, or no more female genital mutilation. It came from them. They declared it openly. They did it in front of the authorities. They did it on the television. They did it in front of the communities. But it meant to them that they had seen the value of abandoning those harmful practices. They saw that it wasn't helping the health of the girls and the women. They saw that it wasn't helping their villages develop. And they realized through the interventions of the faith-based leaders that there really was no religious reason behind the female genital mutilation, and that the real reason behind the child marriage was poverty. So that led them to realize, wow, this is holding us back. It's not actually helping us. And they wanted to then focus on more progressive actions. And that's what they did. So in my time there, I saw over 6,000 villages. So maybe 5,000 people per village. And that was just what I saw and what I worked with. But it's not the numbers. It's that it's possible. It's that it's possible. So I want to bring you that message and tell you I'm very excited for this work that's begun here. I also wanted to tell you, you started as Global Interfaith WASH, Water and Sanitation. So did I when I was I worked for the Red Cross, the International Red Cross, for 17 years. And in my days, we only talked about water, food, and shelter. Nobody talked about menstrual hygiene. Nobody talked about family planning. Nobody talked about gender-based violence in refugee camps or displaced persons areas. Now, these are at the top of the list. They have the same priority as food and water and shelter. So congratulations, because you also have taken on the same challenges that everybody else is prioritizing. And with your help, these will move forward and get to the international norm stage. I'm also really pleased to see that the faith is being matched by the service. Because honestly, the faith without service is just an empty shell, isn't it? It's completely impotent if we don't match it with on-the-ground actions. So that's why I'm so pleased to be able to be here and to talk about this partnership with you. The draft toolkit is extremely impressive. I didn't see the English before I got here, and so you've had more time to go through it than I have. I only saw the key messages. But where I saw the references to the scriptures is fantastic, because this is what will speak to people's hearts and minds. And it takes a lot of work to find these right scriptures, sayings, stories, vignettes, all of the things that will start to change people's hearts and minds. So congratulations to those who worked on it and to those who continue to bring forth those very resounding, I keep wanting to say hadith in the Quran, but those scriptures, in essence, that will speak to people, because that's what we need. That's what we need as your brains and hearts for this work. It also means that it will be owned by you and your followers. And that's the most important part, the first step of behavior change. People have to own it. So words are good, knowledge is good, but behavior and attitudinal change are much more complex. And I think you've started to get to that in the discussions today, and I know Swamiji referred to it. And I think this is where our partnership can be 2 + 2 = 5. And I like to say that because it's where we can create synergies together and bring things to the table that neither one of us alone can achieve. So your access to your followers and your communities and your knowledge of the scriptures and of the beliefs of your communities, with our expertise in behavior change and this kind of messaging, can do something that neither one of us can do separately. So I'm really delighted for that. I think it was referred to, I'm not sure, somewhere, but my middle name is Evidence. Evidence. I always tell my staff, I'm all about the evidence. So I've been doing this for 37 years in development, and I started living in a hut with no water and electricity, and now here I sit as the representative, and I can enjoy nice sweets and treats and sit in an air-conditioned room and talk a lot. But talk is cheap. Really what matters is, are we going to make a difference? So we have to find ways to measure. We have to find ways to be accountable. We have to find ways to justify the resources that we use on everything we do. So this is where also we will need to we'll need to work together and find some ways to figure out how we can assess the progress. As you can imagine, UNFPA deals with very sensitive topics. We talk about sex. We talk about gender and gender-based violence. And those are very nerve-hitting topics. No other UN agency has a mandate like that. But it's okay. We're not afraid of it. It's our daily bread. That's what we do. But it means we walk a fine line every day in terms of how we get the messaging across. I'll tell you also, it's fairly easy to work with a government, but we also walk a fine line sometimes, and we have to maintain our neutrality. And it's the same with faith-based organizations. It's the same with Parliament, which, by the way, we're also starting to work with Oh, where did she go? She had to leave. We are also starting to work with parliamentarians on financing of programs and government budgets for gender-based violence, gender, health, sexual and reproductive health, and youth. We're also working with Panchayati Raj to same mindset change and empowering women and empowering those women who are in office. So we're all thinking in the same way. The faith-based community is, I won't say the untapped frontier, but it's the community that we've done the least with most recently. And it's where we can have huge success, I believe. So I look forward to what we can do together, but we will have to find a way to measure it. We will have to find a way. It's not impossible, but we will have to find that. It's going to take time. How many of us here have gone on a diet? How many of us have said we're going to do something and it doesn't last? Behavior change takes time. It really takes time, and it's about having the right motivation. So we're going to have to be patient. We're going to have to take the time and find the right approach to this if we want it to last. We can't do it individually, so I appeal to you to share the message of the toolkit as we continue to work and perfect and collect and build on all of the ideas that are coming out today. And I think they're excellent. Really, I'm so grateful to have all of you here, but the next step is probably going to have to be at the second and third levels to do that real technical work and figure out how to structure it, to figure out the best materials, to figure out how we can reach the greatest number of people the most effectively. So that's a technical job that will have to be done. But with your blessing and your promotion and advocacy, I'm sure it will happen. So I thank you in advance for that. Yeah, and just to say, we look forward to working for a gender equal world where birds fly with both wings evenly and where all human potential is fulfilled and where everybody enjoys the same dignity and respect. And I don't know about you, but that's the world I want my children to live in. So if you would like to walk together, we're here. Thank you so much.